What's up, Laker Nation? This is the Lakers Report by Chat Sports. My name is Chase Sr. Thanks to all of you for making today's show a part of your day. And speaking of today's show, we're locked and loaded with another really good one. Here's what we have cooked up on today's edition of the Lakers Report. According to reports, Lakers looking to acquire at least one second-round pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, which, by the way, coming your way in 2 Thursdays. According to Bleacher Report, Mavericks, Warriors shopping late first-round picks. Could the Lakers hit up the Golden State Warriors upstate? Rob Pelinka calling Bob Myers, asking him for that 28th overall pick from Golden State? Potentially. We'll take a look at that. And also, Lakers exploring trade ideas and prospects. And we'll take a look at some round 2 guys as well as round 1 guys that if the Lakers do end up trading into the back end of the first round, they could target with that selection. Notable trade assets for Los Angeles. I want to start here because this really sets the foundation for everything that we're going to talk about today. If they want to buy a second-round pick or the less likely option, trading at the end of the first round. Talen Horton-Tucker, Kendrick Nunn, 2-player assets on this roster, and really Anthony Davis, not realistic up to this point, so he's not on this list to my right. First-round picks, 2025 through 2027. Of course, Los Angeles was dangling those in trade talks leading up to the NBA trade deadline. A couple second-round picks as well, and then 2 trade exceptions. One worth a little less than $3 million that the Lakers could include and use to their disposal, or another trade exception worth a little less than $2 million. They can also add both of those up. You do the simple math. I'm terrible at math. I'm not going to do it for you. Get your own calculator out. I got to talk about the Lakers on today's show. I don't have time for that. If you want the Lakers to get into the NBA draft, because right now they don't have a pick, that's why we're talking about them potentially buying a second rounder, then let me know. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Want to hear from you in the comment section right now. Obviously, the more likely option for LA, because of the lack of assets and the fact that they lack some of those picks moving into the future, and also they want to hold on to those picks, is getting into round 2, because it won't take as much to buy a second-round pick, obviously, than it will if, say, the Lakers want to reach out to the Warriors and get to pick number 28. Warriors sitting pretty, making it to the NBA Finals, 1 game away from winning it, but still, they want more back than what the Lakers can probably offer. Rob Pelinka also saying this about the team philosophy going into the draft. One of the intentional philosophical architectural visions for us is to get younger, and Coach Darvin Ham has a passion for developing players. It would be a good goal for us to somehow get in the second round to get a young player that we can develop. We've had great success. If you look at our draft history and the guys we've drafted and developed, and we think we can do it again here in 2022 if we can pull off a trade to get a pick. For reference, the Lakers have done this in the past, actually. Good job by producer Sam Brown, who's just murdering the game here on the Lakers Report, doing some research here. The Lakers spent a little more than $2 million on the 46th overall pick in 2019 to draft Talen Horton-Tucker. And yeah, THT hasn't lived up to the lofty expectations thrown upon him after signing that contract last year in NBA free agency, but really good value selection at 46 overall in the dead middle part of that second round. Here are the teams with multiple second-round selections who the Lakers could hit up, in addition to the Warriors at the back end of the first, as we already talked about. Pacers, Magic, Trailblazers, Kings, Cavaliers, Timberwolves, Pelicans, and Warriors. And you look at all of the selections there. Some really good value, whether you're trying to get into the 30s. Obviously, the asking price a little bit higher there. If you want to get into the 40s, there are some good selections there, and then in the 50s as well. How about a team like the Minnesota Timberwolves with number 40, number 48, number 50? They're paying a lot of money to Karl Anthony Towns. Anthony Edwards is going to get paid in a matter of time. D'Angelo Russell might not be on the team, but he's still demanding a pretty fat contract. So, do the Timberwolves have enough money to pay some of these draft picks? That's the team I would certainly have my eye on. Now, here on the Lakers Report, we've been pushing out videos every single day as the leading Lakers YouTube channel on the entire internet, and we're about really close to 46,000 subscribers. Need 239 to get there, excuse me. I told you I'm really bad at math. 92 new subs off of Monday's show. So if you want videos every single day on the purple and gold, just hit that red subscribe button down below. NBA draft coming up. NBA free agency this offseason is going to be very active for Los Angeles, and we have you covered all throughout it. just like we did with that Darvin Ham coaching search. YouTube.com/LakersTV, or even easier, just hit that red subscribe button right below me. Here's a trade idea for the Lakers to get into round 2. Lakers would receive Terrence Ross, so you actually get a player back here, as well as a second-round pick, number 32 overall. That's basically right on the cusp of being in the first round. 30 selections in that first round, by the way. And the Magic would receive Talen Horton-Tucker and a second-round pick in 2024. So you get some bench help in Terrence Ross, a guy who can certainly score it, and you get the number 32 overall selection, and you get to please Darvin Ham in the process because he has shown a passion, like Rob Pelinka said, of developing some of these young players. As for some round 2 targets, we start off with Kai Sotto, Adelaide 36ers, playing in the NBL down there in Aussie land in Australia. I think realistically Kai Sotto might not get drafted. If you want to get a backup big man who's only 20 years old, develop him over time, you put him back and forth between the NBA roster as well as the G League, Kai Sotto can be your guy. Now, I wouldn't touch him until the 50s, maybe even the last pick of the NBA draft. But again, 20 years old, has to be a little bit quicker. I'd like to see him beef up just a bit. He has potential. Playing in the NBL, 23 games played, not a lot of minutes either, 7.5 points per game. And keep in mind, that's one of the best international leagues in the country, 38.5% three-point shooter, although it's one of the best international leagues, obviously, in Australia in that country. It's one of the best international leagues in the entire world. But Kai Sotto, I'd like to see him take more three-pointers because I think that's good value there as a big man to show the propensity for knocking down some outside shots, and it adds versatility to his game. I want to see where you're at. I want you to like this video, hit that thumbs up icon, and tickle that thing if you want the Lakers to draft Kai Sotto. A lot of people think he's going to be a good player. A lot of people also don't think that he should be drafted. So you let me know by hitting that thumbs up icon. Like it if you want the Lakers to draft him. If not, I want you to comment why. Next up, Max Christie. Really good shooting guard out of Michigan State. A consensus 4-star, 5-star recruit coming out of high school. By the way, no relation to Doug Christie, the former Sacramento King. Max Christie's pops did play at Parkland JUCO in Champaign, Illinois. And Christie, former 5-star guy, according to some recruiting services out there, he was a 4-star. Either way, highly touted coming out of the high school ranks. Really good size at 6'6", 185, one and done. Struggled a little bit at Michigan State. A lot of players have trouble there because of the demands that Tom Izzo has. On and off as a shooter, certainly has the range, though, to be a really solid shooter at the NBA level. Does need to become a little bit more assertive and aggressive. Last year with Sparty, 9+ points per game, 38% from the field, sub 32% from beyond the arc. Next up, Alondes Williams out of Wake Forest. Jake LaRavia is the player from Wake Forest who a lot of people are hyping up right now. He might be able to sneak in to the latter half of that first round. Alondes Williams, though, his teammate, a very good player who made a lot of improvements throughout his college career. To his benefit and to his advantage, entered the transfer portal. And with Wake Forest last year, numbers went up monumentally. 18.5 points per game, sub 51% from the field, 28% from three, but I like the fact that he at least attempted some of those shots. And at Oklahoma from 2019 to 2021, there was no Boomer Sooner because the numbers were certainly down, as evidenced by the figures there to the left. Last second-round prospect here, Trevion Williams out of Purdue. Now, Purdue last year, they were led by Jaden Ivey. And Jaden Ivey was sensational. Trevion Williams is also pretty good, and that's why he's getting some clout going into the NBA draft. Like his size at 6'8", 265, so he can be a load on the low block. Unique scoring and playmaking blend. Second on the team in assists from a year ago behind the aforementioned Jaden Ivey, whose creation ability is really special, as well as his athleticism. He could carve out a role if his shot does develop for his career. Tick under 11 points per game and 7 rebounds. So you improve the shot, you rebound the ball really well, you come in off the bench, and you contribute a little bit. Williams will be able to carve out a role at the NBA level if he fulfills all of those areas. Coming up around the bend here on the Lakers Report, how about some first-round prospects and a trade idea for the Lakers to sneak into round 1? That's coming up here momentarily. You don't want to miss it. But first, do you like watching the NBA draft? We will be live on our main Chat Sports YouTube channel a week from Thursday. Give me an L for like, D for don't like, myself and Harrison Graham. We've been doing a lot of research into these prospects. Me personally, diving into the film, taking a look at some of these guys, ranking them, scouting them, and I'll be able to relay all of my feelings on all of these prospects a week from Thursday, June 23rd, for the first and second round of the NBA draft. We'll be talking about every single selection during both rounds. Our coverage will start about an hour or two in the lead up to the draft. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. Subscribe to us. We just eclipsed 300,000 subscribers. Here's a trade idea for the Lakers to get into round one. Do the Dallas Mavericks really need that first-round selection? I think they're going to be busier in NBA free agency, retaining a player like Jalen Brunson, maybe making a run at a notable center out there like DeAndre Ayton, Rudy Gobert, maybe Mitchell Robinson for the New York Knicks. So if that's the case, do they need their 26th overall pick if the board doesn't fall their way or if they're not happy with some of the prospects left there? Lakers received that first-round overall selection at 26. Mavericks received Kendrick Nunn, so you free yourself of that salary as well as a second-round pick next year via Washington. So you look at some of these late round one prospects here. Out of the G League Ignite, Jaden Hardy, when I scout him, has a ton of ability, just needs to be a little bit more consistent, very streaky. And if he's a little bit more consistent, I do like his upside. Another highly touted prospect coming out of high school, 5-star, pretty solid size for a combo guard at 6'4", 198. The hype was all about shot making, but he was really streaky, as I talked about. Needs to work on his decision making and his feel for the game. Sometimes he just makes some decisions that aren't all that great. Little less than 18 points per game, 3+ rebounds, only shot 35% from the field. That's a little bit troublesome. Christian Braun out of Kansas, another player who I really like, and a player who I think would be great and an awesome fit for Los Angeles because I think he'd be able to impact games from year one. Won a national championship with Kansas. 2 years ago to this past year, made a huge jump. And he can be that prototypical guy who can play defense and knock down three-pointers. I'm not going to say that he's going to be that 3-and-D guy like, let's say, I don't know, a Robert Covington. I think that's kind of disrespectful. I think Christian Braun can put the ball on the hoop. He's a really good put the ball on the deck, put the biscuit in the basket. He can defend at a really high level. Right now he has that corner three-point shot. Would like to see him stretch it to the arc as well as from straight away. But that experience of playing for Kansas in a bunch of big games and then this past year winning the national championship, I like his pedigree, I like his attitude, I like his swagger, and I like his confidence in the fact that he works diligently at his craft. A draft riser right now is Jaden Williams out of Santa Clara. A guy who maybe some people in California, big fans of the Lakers, are familiar with. What he did with Santa Clara this past year in 33 games was pretty impressive. Now, he is one of those 3-and-D prospects. Really good length, solid athleticism, really good knack for putting his hands and his arms disrupting passing lanes. This past year, 18 points per game, what I absolutely love. You see the three-point numbers right there, almost 40%. I'll take it at the NBA level any day. Assist numbers pretty solid. Steals, blocks, little less than a block per night for Jaden Williams, but the steal numbers very, very good because of that length. How about Christian Koloko out of Arizona? Arizona has a couple of guys who could get drafted, led by Benedict Mathurin, and because of the play of B-Math, Christian Koloko was sometimes overshadowed with Arizona this past year. If they made a little bit of a deep run in the NCAA tournament, I think people would have had their eyes peeled on Koloko. Good big man, really good size, and nowadays at the NBA level, look, when you're drafting a big man, if he can't shoot, he needs to be able to switch. He needs to be able to get out to the three-point arc, kind of like what Kevon Looney has given the Golden State Warriors. He needs to be able to guard multiple positions, and Christie Koloko has that type of upside. 12.5 points per game, good knack for pulling down some boards amongst the trees, nearly 3 blocks per game. So he can soar, he can fly, he can jump, and while he doesn't really shoot it from the outside all that much, 63.5% from the field, that's what you want to see from a big man. So if you could pick any draft prospect for the Lakers, whether it be in the first round, whether it be in the second round, I want you to do your due diligence, join the party, be a part of the show like I am as the host, and give me a name or names in the comment section. Who would it be? You play the scout, you be the GM, and you dream big. And as always, thanks for watching the show.